Hello and welcome. You are now looking at Etsy.com. And Etsy is a marketplace where you can sell anything that starts with something that you created, and in most cases will be something that you made with your hands. However, in some cases, you will find that there are digital concepts that are being sold. And Etsy does have specifics on what they mean by handmade. In many cases, there are tutorials that are being sold on Etsy. For example, if we were to type in the keyword tutorials to the Etsy search bar, you would see that that would yield 313,000 results. Now, in most cases, those tutorials will be directed toward those who are handcrafting their items and those who sell handcrafted items. However, there are cases where courses are being sold on subjects that don't necessarily fully involve handcrafted items. But if you do sell something that is handmade, Etsy is the place where you can go and sell your items. Now, one of the things that Etsy sellers depend on is the fact that their listing can be found in organic search. And if their item is specific to what the individual is looking for, that individual can find them in a Google search and then be taken to the Etsy marketplace where they can find that item and more that are going to be like it. So in this course, what we're going to do is walk through the process of taking your item, whether it is digital or physical, and getting it set up on Etsy in order for you to sell. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in the first video. Welcome back. We are now going to open our Etsy account. And we are going to do that by going to etsy.com/sell. Once we do that, depending on when you are seeing this video, you should see a button that gives you the option of opening your Etsy shop. You want to go in the direction in whatever that button is saying at the time in which you access the site. What you're going to do first is you're going to register with your email address. Once you do that, you're then going to click Continue. You're then going to create your account. And you're then going to click Register. What you'll then want to do is to go to your email account. What you should then see is a place where you can confirm your Etsy account. You are then going to want to click that button that says Confirm Account. Once you do that, you should see a message or some indication that your account has been confirmed and you are now ready to begin working with your Etsy account. Once we've done that, what we're going to do first is go to the account settings. And what you can then do is to set your public profile. Etsy will allow you to upload some kind of public image for your store. Once you've uploaded the image, what you can then do is save. Your image will then be in place. If you want to make changes to your display name, you can do that here. You'll save the changes. You can then indicate your gender as well as other demographic information. And what you'll then want to do is you'll want to write something brief about who you are and who you want to brand yourself as while you're going to be on Etsy. Now, you'll want to make sure that you're looking at other individuals that already have an Etsy profile. Now, you're going to see that about information here on your store when people are looking at it on the front page. Etsy will then ask you your favorite materials and allow you to share up to 13 materials that you like. Now, this is going to be optional, as is leaving the items ticked that you want to show on your profile. Once you've completed everything, you can then click Save Changes. Once you've done that, you have all of your basic information in order to go to the next step. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, once you have set your public profile, you're going to want to go to the settings link, and you'll basically have all of your account settings that you can set. If you want to connect your social media, you can do that from these links. Now, if you want to change your email, you can do it from this page, and you'll need to make sure to confirm your email with your password. Also within the account settings are going to be your preferences. So if you're going to primarily operate using a specific language, you're going to want to designate that here. You're also going to want to designate whatever your currency is going to be. In this case, we've indicated that our region is going to be the United States. You'll need to indicate your region using this drop-down menu. And in terms of communication with Etsy, you can indicate if you want to receive postal mail and if you want to receive phone calls. Once you have indicated everything that you're going to be doing in terms of your preferences, you're going to click this button that says Update Preferences. You then have Privacy Settings. And you can go through these areas to make sure that Etsy is handling your data correctly. And you can indicate whether you want others to be able to find you by your email address. If that's not something you want, you can indicate that by no when you were going through and updating your privacy settings. If you don't want to receive personalized advertising, you can turn it off. And once you have completed your privacy settings, you can click Update Settings. Once you've done that, you can go through your Security tab. You can enable two-factor authentication so that if an individual gets access to your account, they would need to go through a second layer of security. And you can look to this page to determine where your account has been accessed from. You can then go to your addresses area. If you're going to be receiving items through Etsy, you can indicate an address where you want those items to be sent. When it comes to making purchases, you can leave a credit card on file by clicking this link. And you can indicate your notification preferences. And you can tick and untick these boxes based on how and when you want to receive your emails. Once you have those notifications set, you can then click Save Settings. Once you've completed this, you will then have worked through your Settings tab. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You should now be set up in terms of your profile as well as your information. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to this top link that says Sell on Etsy. Now before we open the shop, we are going to look at the fees associated with Etsy as of the recording of this video. Now depending on when you're seeing this video, these numbers may change, but you're going to see the listing fee. You're also going to see a transaction fee, as well as a 15% online ads fee. You're going to want to take note of how the fees work. It's going to cost 20 cents in order to publish a listing to the Etsy marketplace. And again, according to Etsy, as of the recording of this video, the listing will last 4 months or until the item is going to be sold. That's when you will pay the 5% transaction fee on the sale price to Etsy. Now, if you decide to use the Etsy payment system, you are going to also pay a 3% plus 25-cent payment processing fee when the item is going to be sold. You're going to see during the setup process that you can accept payments in a number of ways for your Etsy store. That will mean PayPal, most of your major credit cards, as well as Apple Pay. Now, there is a seller handbook, which you will want to be familiar with. Here at the bottom, again, depending on when you're seeing this video. Now, you are going to have the opportunity to join what is called Etsy Plus, which is going to be an additional fee as of the recording of this video. This will give you ways to customize your shop in ways that you won't have when you use the standard version, as well as being able to get specific web addresses that are going to be consistent with your store. Now, we are going to start the process by clicking this button that says Open Your Etsy Shop. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now going to come inside of our shop preferences as we start working on setting up our Etsy store. Now you're going to be asked to specify your language as well as your country. Now for the sake of this video, we're going to start with English and the United States. Now you're obviously going to do what's necessary for your country and for your language. You're also going to need to specify your currency here. And once again, now for the sake of this video, we're going to specify the United States dollar as our currency. You're also going to be giving Etsy just some information. This doesn't necessarily count toward anything, but you're going to be telling them what your intent is. What we're going to do is we're going to start in the middle and say we are selling part-time but hope to sell full-time. What we're now going to do is click Save and Continue. Now this is going to be the name of your shop, and you're going to want to make sure that this shop name is going to be available to you. We're going to go ahead and write in a shop name. Once you have the name in that you want, you're going to check to see if it's available. If it is available, what you can do then is click Save and Continue. Now at this point, Etsy is going to ask you to start by creating multiple listings. We are going to create one listing in order to work through the process. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to click this button that says Add a Listing. And what you're going to do now is you're going to place images in this area that describe your item. Now you're allowed to upload up to 10 photos for your listing. Now one of the things that you'll see here is that you can adjust the photo. So what we can do here is we can click on top of the photo and we can then crop or adjust that photo for the way that we want it to be. Once we have the changes the way we want them, or if we don't want changes at all, we can click the Cancel or Save button. Now if you have variations of your item, you can link to those variations here in your listing. And we're going to pick it up from that point in the next video. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in the next video. Welcome back. Now one of the things you'll notice about the title bar is that you're going to have 140 characters to write your title. Now you'll want this title to be keyword rich and indicative of individuals finding you through Google search. Once you've done that, you're going to indicate details about the listing. Now Etsy is going to give you drop-down menus in order to do that. So in this case, we're going to state who made it. What they mean by that is you're going to indicate whether you did, someone who is part of your store, or someone else. You're then going to indicate whether or not you're going to be selling a finished product or a supply or tool in order to make other things. And then you're going to use the third drop-down arrow to indicate when it was actually created. Once you've done that, you're then going to want to designate the category. And to do that, you're going to write in 2 or 3 words that indicate what you're actually selling in order to find a searchable category for Etsy. And when you write in words, you're going to find that Etsy is going to try to give you clues on which category you're going to use. Once you find the category that you are going to be listing, you're going to want to select it. You're then going to indicate the primary color for your item. In this case, this is going to be optional, so you can use this drop-down menu in order to indicate the color. You can also indicate a secondary color. What you're then going to do is you're going to indicate what happens when your listing expires. So if you want your listing to be reloaded, you're going to leave this as automatic, which is the default setting. That means then that if your item doesn't sell, within the time period, it will automatically be relisted. If you want to determine if that item is going to be relisted, should it not sell, you can make this a manual process. You're then going to indicate whether you are selling a physical or digital item. What you can then do is you can select digital if you're selling a digital item. You're then going to want to write a keyword-rich description of your product. Now, you're going to want to make sure that it's keyword-rich so that individuals searching on Google or their favorite search engine, they will be able to find your item in organic search. So you want to make this description as long as you need it to be. Now, for the sake of this video, we are just going to use one sentence in our description. Your description, of course, would be much longer. What you can then do is you can click this link. You'll then be able to see how your listing is going to look when it's placed on the Google search engine. And you'll see that listing here. Now, we're going to stop the video here, and we're going to pick it up from this point when we start to discuss production partners. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, the next space in the listing area is for production partners. And as you can see, what Etsy designates a production partner as is someone that helps you with the product, yet is not part of your operation. We're going to click this link to determine what Etsy says are requirements for how you're going to state this individual. Now, there are going to be two sections at this page that you're going to take note of. The first is going to be the handmade policy. And this is where you're going to make specific disclosures about your production partner and what they're doing in order to help you to produce the item that you were listing on Etsy. And if you have questions about what a production partner really does, there's a specific section on this page that will explain it to you. Underneath that section is another link, and it is an ethical expectation from Etsy regarding people who work with production partners. And this is an indication of how you should be working with your production partners. In other words, that you're not exploiting that production partner in any way in order to get them to help you to produce your item. But that is basically a summary. You're going to want to make sure to read this entire section and understand it extremely well. Once you've read through these items, you're then going to want to go to your listing to determine if you need to write in a production partner. And to do that, you're going to click this link that says add a new production partner. You're going to write in the nature of that production partner. You're going to want to write in what that production partner does with you and for you. Now, there is another part of that production partner listing, and this is going to be something that will be private to you and Etsy. First, you're going to disclose why you're working with the partner. Etsy gives you some choices, and you want to disclose that reason with Etsy. You're then going to want to determine what your role in the design of the product process is. And this is another disclosure you're going to make with Etsy. Finally, you are going to want to disclose to Etsy what the partner's role is in the process. Once you've done that, you can look at a preview as to how the listing is going to look with your production partner's information in it. Once you've done that, what you're then going to do is click Save Partner. And we're now ready to move on to the next section. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in the next section, what you can do is you can add what Etsy calls groups to your listing. And this will mean that people can search for items that are like yours and find your item along with others that you determine are like it. So in other words, what we can do here is we can click this link and we can add in a section title. Once we've added that section, we can come back and we can add in another section. You'll come back and you'll notice then that you have 2 sections. And so you can continue to add sections so that you can determine that your item is going to be like others where it can be found. You can also add in tags. And what you want to do with tags is you want to write in keywords that individuals might use in order to search to find your individual item. Now you can use 13 tags to indicate what your item is. And Etsy does have a link here that will help you to find ideas for your tags. And you can use these questions in order to determine what your tags should be. You can also use your best tool using keywords to determine what those tags should be also. And once you write them in, you can click add. What you'll see is they'll be added as you write them in. Now for the sake of this video, we are going to continue on. We're not going to use all 13 of our tags. We're going to continue and go forward. We can also write in tags in order to indicate what the materials are being used in our item. For example, you can write in any ingredients or components that you're using inside of your item. Once again, we are not going to use all of our tags here in this video. We are going to continue to go forward. You're now ready to write in the price of your item. Now you're going to want to take into account what your shipping costs are going to be, especially if you're going to be adding in free shipping. You can then write in how many you are going to make available. Now if you have an inventorying system, you can write in your shopkeeping unit or SKU. And you're going to write it here in this area. Now, in order to sell your product, you could require that an individual has to give you personalized information. If that is the case, you're going to turn this item on, and you're then going to collect that personalization here in this area. What you're going to need to do is to write instructions to your buyer for them to give you the information that you need in order to produce what you're delivering to them with the personalization. And of course, if you don't have personalization, you can turn this item off or leave it off by default. Now, if you're going to be delivering some kind of digital good, you're going to need to upload the file here in this area. And so you're going to click this upload button in order to get the file, typically going to be a PDF, that you're going to deliver to your customer. Now, if you're going to have more than one file, you can add those files here in this area. And once you've added all of the files that you're going to be delivering to your customer, you can then preview your listing. And you'll then be able to see exactly how your listing is going to look when it's going to be on Etsy. If your listing looks the way you want it to be, you can then click Save and Continue. And you are then ready to create another listing. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, once you have the number of initial listings you want to set up, you can then click Save and Continue, and you can go to the next step. And what you're going to do now is you're going to set up your payment method. Now, we're first going to select our country. Now, for the sake of this video, we're going to put in the country as the United States. You are going to want to put in your country where you are doing business. What you're then going to do is you're going to write in your account name, your account type, the routing number, and the account number where you're going to want to have your funds deposited. You're also going to be asked for other identifying information: your first name, last name, your date of birth, your social security number, as well as your home address. Again, this information may vary according to what country you're going to be in, but the identifying information you're going to need at this point in order to match your account where your funds are going to be deposited. Now, what you're basically setting up here is going to be Etsy payments. And Etsy payments gives your buyer multiple options in order to make payments to you. Now, this payment system you are going to want to be aware of in the FAQ section as of the recording of this video. And depending on when you're watching, you are going to want to read the FAQ for the payment section. Now, there are 4 sections here currently. Each one is very important in terms of how you're going to be paid. First, you do need to have Etsy payments for your shop on Etsy. That is a requirement. Secondly, Etsy Payments does charge you a certain amount for fees. Third, what we're about to do is turn on those payment settings, but if you're not in this section, you are going to want to click this link to go to your payment settings. Now you'll notice there is a question here about PayPal. Now what you can do is you can have Etsy take the payment and then move those funds into your bank account. However, what you can do also is to connect your personal PayPal into the transaction. So basically now what you want to do is to finish setting up your Etsy payment system. Now once you have set up your bank account information, what you're going to need to do then is you're going to need to set up a credit card in order to be charged for your listing. What's going to happen is you're going to be charged on the first day of the next calendar month for all of the listings that you have on your site. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and set up your credit card and your billing. And once you've done that, your listing is then set. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now what you may have done in order to set up your shop was just to do a listing in order to get your account open. What we're going to do is we're going to now go to this listing and we're going to deactivate it until we're really ready to start marketing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go either to edit our shop or to our shop manager. We'll now click edit our shop, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the listing area, and for now what we're going to do is we're going to select this entry and we're just going to deactivate this listing. Now Etsy will tell you what the parameters are for the deactivation, and it still does not affect your 4-month listing period. So when your 4-month period comes up, you'll still be due for the next fee if you choose to renew. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to deactivate this listing. Now that we've deactivated this listing, we're now going to go back to our home page. And you should now be in the settings area. One of the things that you can do to customize your shop is to make sure that you have a banner, and you're going to see that at the top. Etsy is encouraging you to create a banner in order to showcase your brand and listing. And we're going to click the add button. And what we're going to do is we're going to get some parameters on the banner style. Now there are some styles that are going to be available when you upgrade to the Plus listing. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at the banner styles. We can go with a big banner, and you'll see how that's going to look on both mobile and on desktop. You can also go with a mini banner. You'll see how that's going to look. You'll also see some of the parameters in terms of dimensions when you're going to create your image. You'll see that for the mini banner, the minimum image size is going to be 1200 by 160. With the big banner, it's going to be 1200 by 300 pixels. And what you'll see here is that Etsy is then asking you to add in an image. So once you choose which style you're going to use, what you're going to do is you're then going to create your banner. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create our big banner, and we're going to use the third-party program Canva in order to do it. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now what you may have done in order to set up your shop was just to do a listing in order to get your account open. What we're going to do is we're going to now go to this listing and we're going to deactivate it until we're really ready to start marketing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go either to edit our shop or to our shop manager. We'll now click edit our shop, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the listing area, and for now what we're going to do is we're going to select this entry And we're just going to deactivate this listing. Now, Etsy will tell you what the parameters are for the deactivation. And it still does not affect your 4-month listing period. So when your 4-month period comes up, you'll still be due for the next fee if you choose to renew. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to deactivate this listing. Now that we've deactivated this listing, we're now going to go back to our home page. And you should now be in the settings area. One of the things that you can do to customize your shop is to make sure that you have a banner, and you're going to see that at the top. Etsy is encouraging you to create a banner in order to showcase your brand and listing. And we're going to click the add button, and what we're going to do is we're going to get some parameters on the banner style. Now, there are some styles that are going to be available when you upgrade to the Plus listing. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at the banner styles. We can go with a big banner, and you'll see how that's going to look on both mobile and on desktop. You can also go with a mini banner. You'll see how that's going to look. You'll also see some of the parameters in terms of dimensions when you're going to create your image. You'll see that for the mini banner, the minimum image size is going to be 1200 by 160. With the big banner, it's going to be 1200 by 300 pixels. And what you'll see here is that Etsy is then asking you to add in an image. So once you choose which style you're going to use, what you're going to do is you're then going to create your banner. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create our big banner, and we're going to use the third-party program Canva in order to do it. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. If you already have an existing account at canva.com, you can use that account for these purposes. If you don't, you can start a free account with canva.com in order to create some of the artifacts you're going to need for your store. So we're now going to be creating our banner. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the search bar inside of Canva. And you can see if you start by typing in Etsy, you do have artifacts available to use inside of Canva. If you hover over the Etsy shop cover, you'll see that they will start with the size of 1200 by 300 pixels, which is what we need. We are going to click that banner. Now what you're seeing is that Canva has some pre-designed templates that you can use in order to alter to make your own banner. Now you might find that these are going to be a little limited. However, you can work with Canva in order to change them to suit what it is that you're trying to do. Now, obviously, if you have a paid account, you'll have more options available. But typically, you can take the options that Canva gives you just with the free version. You can start to work with some of the options. For example, if we were to choose this option right at the top, what that would do is that would bring you into a Canva workspace with that actual banner. And when you place your cursor on top of the banner, you're going to start to see some of the elements available. For example, you'll see some of the text available in this particular banner. If you were to double click on that text, what you can do is you can then write in your own information in the same font as the existing banner. What you can then do is you can then change some of the information. And you can even add in elements to the banner that you have. Now, this is not obviously a full-blown tutorial on the use of Canva. What's most important is that you know that you can very quickly come in, change the look of your store with a banner that has the right size and dimensions. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click this download button, and we're going to download this banner to our hard drive. That means now we can come back to our Etsy store and we can add in the image that we just created. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click this add an image button. We're then going to grab the image that we created. We're going to click open. And then this is going to now be our banner that we just created inside of Canva. and this will headline our store. Once you have that banner in, you're going to want to come down to the bottom and click the Save button. Once you do that, then your banner will then be available on your shop. You can view your shop as your customer will see it by clicking the View button. You'll then see your banner available inside of Etsy. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, another area to customize is going to be your cover. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to edit our shop. And what you're going to notice here is that you can upload a photo. If we click that photo, you're going to notice that you are recommended to use one of the photo formats and then an image that is at least 500 pixels by 500 pixels. Now, once again, we can create this image inside of Canva. So what we're going to do is come back to the home page. We're then going to type in Etsy, and you're going to see that we have a listing for an Etsy shop icon, which is going to be 500 by 500. And you'll see here that we can use one of the designs. Now, one of the other things we can do is we can use an existing design that we have, and we can take something that we've made. And what we can try to do is we can try to resize it so that it fits into what we want it to be. Now, we can click this resize button. And what we can do here is we can then type in 500 by 500. And what we're then going to do is click copy and resize. And so basically what we're using is we're using another version of what we've already created. Now, what we can also do is we can then just redo the image altogether. And so we can take one of the existing templates and then we can replace the current page. What we can then do is we can then write in what we want it to be. And once again, this is not a full-blown tutorial on the use of Canva. However, what we can do is we can use it in order to create what we want it to be. We can save it. We can always come back to Canva and we can redo this when we're ready to have something that is more branded. So once we've done that, we're just going to download the image just as we did the other. We're then going to head back to Etsy. What we're then going to do is we're going to click on top of the image. We're going to choose the file that we just created. We're then going to open it into our Etsy store. We're then going to click Save. And then if we like our listing, we're then going to click Looks Good. And then we will have our cover image for our store. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now we are now looking at the storefront, and what we're going to do is going to click the Edit Shop button, and when we get there, there are more customizations for us to be able to make. First, what we can do is we can give our store a shop title, and we can describe our store, and you're going to see that link here on the front page. So we're going to click that link, and what we're going to do is we're going to add in a brief description about our store. We're going to keep that within one sentence. And you'll be able to see what that's going to look like on Google search. So what we're going to do here is we're then going to click Save. Now, if it's irrelevant, what we can also do is we can set a specific location. We can click the Edit button. And what we can do is we can write in a suggested city so that others would be able to find our store. Now, this is going to be of particular interest to you if you are selling offline or if you're having people come to you for your goods. Now, if you're going to choose to have that location, you can then click Save. And then you have your second customization. What we're now going to do is we're going to go to the settings area. What we're then going to do is we're going to click on Info and Appearance. Now it's here that we can change our shop name. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write in the name of our shop. Now you do want to take note of what you're going to name your shop, because this is going to be part of your shop URL. Now if you've not already shared the URL, this is not going to matter. But if you've already shared your existing URL, you're going to want to take note of what you change the name of your shop to. Now for the sake of this video, we are going to leave our shop name as it is. Right next to the shop name tab, you're going to see here that there's a link for your store policy. We're going to click on that link. And what we're going to do is we're going to then click Edit Policies in Shop Home. And once we do that, what we're going to do is stop the video here, and we're going to pick it up from editing our shop policies. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now when you come to your shop policies, you're going to see a boilerplate template. And what you're going to do is you're going to come down to the bottom and you're going to click the Edit button. And you can make some changes to these policies. For example, you can write in the estimated shipping time. You can click this link and you can add in shipping time that you feel is going to be reasonable for what it is that you are producing. The payment options are basically not going to change since you're going to be using Etsy Pay. If you have a policy for returns and exchanges, you are then going to be able to make those changes. So for example, you'll see here that by default it says that you accept returns. If that's not the case, you can turn off that you accept returns. You can determine whether you are going to accept exchanges or whether you are not. So again, these are changes that you can make to the actual policy as you see them according to what your business is going to do. Again, depending on what kind of business you're doing, you may not accept cancellations. If that's the case, you're going to then select this area and then you're going to dictate how long it's going to be before you'll take the cancellation. You're going to write in which kind of items cannot be returned or exchanged. And so you're going to indicate that here in this area. And then you'll also need to write in your privacy policy. And so if you have privacy policy information from your website or from any other site where you're selling, you're going to want to place it here in this area. Once you have changed your shop policies, what you can do here is you can click Publish Shop Policies. Now here at the bottom, once you do that, you're going to see that what you can do is you can add in frequently asked questions about the kind of business you're doing. If that's the case, you can click this button and you can write in your questions and your answers with respect to your business. And so there are specific questions and you can write those questions and answers here. And when you click the Save button, you're going to see that that frequently asked question is added, and you can add in another frequently asked question. Now, if your business involves selling to Europe, you're going to need to write in some contact information according to laws governing the sale of those items. Now, this is going to be specifically for you to be contacted by someone in the EU. Again, if that's going to be relevant for you and your business, you can write that in here and leave it so that you can be contacted. Now again, it states clearly that Etsy will not use this information to contact you. It'll use the other information that you have placed inside of your store. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now that our shop policies have been edited, you should now be inside of the settings area. And when you go to that settings area, once again, you should be on the info and appearance area. And we're going to do now, since we've edited the policies on this tab and we worked with the shop name in this tab, we're now going to work with the rest of our info and appearance. Now, one of the things we can do is we can add in a banner for the receipt that our customers are going to be receiving. And to do that, we can create a banner that's going to be 760 pixels by 100 pixels, and we can place it here in this area. Now, once again, if you don't have anything that has been created, you can create one in Canva. And we're going to use our existing design. And what we're going to do is we're just going to resize this. And we're going to write in the dimensions of the banner as we want it. Once again, that's going to be 760 by 100. We're going to click copy and resize. So this is how our banner is going to look if we're going to use our existing design. If we want to keep it, all we'll need to do is to go to this download tab, and we can click download for the image. Once we've done that, we can head back to Etsy. And what we can do is we can go to our order receipt banner, and we can upload the banner that we just created. Now, in order to keep our changes, we're going to click Save Changes. And we'll then see our banner in place. Now, if you are logged into your social media accounts, you can connect them through your Etsy account. And basically, you can start with your Facebook account. You can click the Connect with Facebook button. Etsy will ask you if it can connect. You'll then give Etsy permission. And then your Etsy account will then be linked to your Facebook account. And just so that you'll note, you will be linked to a specific page on your Facebook account. You can also connect with your Twitter account. Again, assuming you're already logged in, you can click Authorize App, and you'll then be connected to your Twitter account using your Etsy account. Now, you have three other areas of customization. You can make a shop announcement that will be visible to your visitors and your buyers about your store or about items that you have for sale. You can also write a message to your buyers that they are going to see on their receipt pages and in the email that they're going to get from you when they make a purchase. You can and you should write a message to those individuals that are purchasing from you digitally. This may include any instructions that they'll need in order to access fully everything that you've given them inside of your digital download. And once you have your info and appearance changes in, you can then click Save Changes. And you have now updated your info and appearance in your store. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. What we're now going to do is to go back to our settings area, and then we're going to click on this link that says About Your Shop. Now, this is where you want to write in your owner profile as well as any other individuals that you're going to have working inside of your store. You can add in a photo, the name, and then the role of the individual that you're going to be adding. Once you've added in your bio information and then the role and then the name, what you can do is you can then click Save. What you'll notice then is that you have another link here, and you can click this link to add another shop member. So if you have another individual that's working with you inside of your Etsy store, you can add this individual here in this area. And as you can see, we've added in another individual. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to add in the rest of your team that are working on your products for your store. You'll then see one tab over that you can click on this tab that says Story. And this is where you can add in information about the nature of your store. Now, for the sake of this video, we are not going to write a long message, but you want to include as much information that will be helpful to make people confident about their purchase with your store. Now, before we move on to the process, we're going to make sure that we have all of our information saved. So we're going to skip all the way to the bottom. We're then going to click Save. What you can then do is you can add in a shop video. And so if you have a shop video that's representative of what you want to say about your business, you can add one here in this area, and it can be an AVI file or MP4 file. That will take a few minutes in order for your video to process. So while your video is processing, what you can do is you can move to the next section. You'll see here that you can add in photos about your store. And basically what you can do in this section is you can add in 5 photos representative of what you provide, and then you can create captions for each one of the images. Now, what you're going to want to be mindful of these photos is that they're all going to be displayed at 760 by 468. So you don't want to make them too large. In fact, what you can do is you can go inside of your photo editing program. You can make sure that they fit these dimensions and then upload them to Etsy. Once you've added your photos, you can then click Save Changes. You can also add in links to other related sites. You have the choice of adding in a Facebook link, Twitter link, Instagram link, Pinterest link, your blog, and then also your website. So what you'll notice is that you can add in as many of them as are going to be relevant to your particular store. And once you have them in, you can then click Save. Once you've done that, you can view your About Your Shop page. And then you can see what it is that you have available for your customers to see. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. What we're now going to do is go into our settings area, and then we're going to move to the options tab. Now these options will change based on particular times in your business as well as your particular parameters. And so you'll see here that you have systems that you can set based on how you want to do business. For example, you have custom order requests, which you can enable. You can enable gift wrapping. You can also enable offer gift messages for your product. If you sell to individuals in foreign countries, you can do automatic listing translation. And then you can also enable your shoppers to be able to see any listings that have been sold. Or you can choose to hide these listings. At the very top, you also have vacation mode. What you can do here is set your shop to vacation mode. You can write a vacation message for your buyers. And you can also write in an auto reply just in case they send you a message while your shop is on vacation. At the top, the next tab over is Web Analytics. And basically it's here where you can set up your Google Analytics account to work with your Etsy shop. So if you already have a profile at Google Analytics, what you'll need to do is to set up a web property inside of Google Analytics. If you don't have one, you can click this link and set up a profile at Google Analytics, which is free to use. What you're going to do is go into the admin area in Google Analytics. You're then going to click this button that says Create a Property. You're going to measure a web property and then click Continue. You're going to give your property a name and then you're going to give the address. Now for your website URL, you are going to want to write in your Etsy URL. And you're going to place that URL here in this dialog box. Now you're going to have your website URL in here in the property. Now one thing you're going to want to make sure is that you don't have HTTP in here. Otherwise it's going to show invalid URL. So for example, we'll just show you this here. If you type in HTTP or HTTPS, this is going to show us invalid. You're going to need to make sure that you don't have it in here so that you can complete the process of setting up your Google Analytics account. Once you do that, you'll then click Create. You'll then want to get the unique tracking ID. You'll want to copy it and then head back to Etsy. You'll want to cut and paste the web property in and then click Save. And in the next 2 tabs over, you have Download Data and then Closing Your Shop. You can download all of the sales information for your store, and you can use it for any dates that you have available to you. And you can download that information in case you're going to be moving it to another platform or using it in some kind of analysis tool. In order to close your shop, what you can do is take care of any balance that you have outstanding. Once you've done that, you will then be enabled to close any of your listings and then take your store offline. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, there is one more setting that you're going to want to take note of inside of the settings area. And if you go inside of the settings area, you're going to take a look at your shipping settings. It's going to bring you to this page. And before you set this up, Etsy is going to tell you about the opportunity for you to set up a free shipping guarantee. And basically what this does is it means then that anything that you're shipping within the United States, you can be given priority placement in search if you agree to give free shipping to Etsy customers. And this is going to be for items that are going to be $35 or more. So you're going to want to make sure that you read through this panel to determine if this is something that is going to fit your business. What you're also going to see are going to be shipping profiles. So in this case, you're going to click this button and you're going to then be able to offer a shipping profile. And basically, every kind of product that you are going to be selling, you can create a separate profile for it. So for example, you can make it so that prices are entered manually or calculated. You can determine where an item is going to be shipped from, as in certain cases where certain products are going to be shipped from different locations. And the same thing is going to be true naturally for processing time for those items. Again, now it's possible that you have for specific kind of items that you'll only ship them to certain locations. You can edit and indicate that here. And correspondingly, there are going to be certain products that you're only going to be using specific kind of shipping services. Now it's here again that you can offer free shipping as well as free international shipping if you're going to do it for this particular shipping profile. And then if you have a certain amount of handling that goes into the package you're going to be sending, you can indicate that by charging a handling fee for this particular kind of product. And once you determine these parameters for the specific kind of shipping you're going to be doing, you can name this profile and create it. And you can create as many profiles as you need for the kinds of products you're going to be shipping with Etsy. When you use specific kinds of products, you can indicate a specific kind of pricing. What this does will allow you to create specific kind of labels when you are shipping. And you can determine that based on the particular kind of package type. You'll see here that all of the rates are going to be determined by the United States Post Office, which is going to be a fixed fee. And you can add as many package preferences as you want. You can either use the post office shipping rates or you can use the Etsy shipping label rates. And you can toggle this back and forth depending on how you want to go about managing your business. You can also offer your customers the opportunity to pay for expedited shipping. You can do that by clicking this Enabled button, or you can disable this feature and make sure it is turned off. So once you've done that, you will have determined your shipping settings for your products. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, one of the things that Etsy will do is it will allow you to connect your opportunity to sell in person with your Etsy store. If you come all the way to the bottom in your shop manager, you're going to see that there's a link there that says sell in person. And Etsy offers a connection to a Square account. And if you have a Square account, you can connect that Square account to your Etsy account. If you don't have a Square account, you can sign up for one here in this area. Now, in order to sign up, depending on when you're seeing this video, you will need your email and you will need to pass on some identifying information. Now, this identifying information does not mean that you will be checked for your credit. Square will ask you some details about your business. You'll then need to write in your identifying information, and in that information, you'll need to put in your identifying number. If you're in the United States, that would be your social security number. You can then determine how soon you want to be paid, then click continue. You'll then be asked to link up your bank account. Now to verify, Square wants you to make sure that you've got at least $1 in your account so that they can withdraw 1 cent in order to verify your account. You can then send for a Square reader in order to take payments in person. You'll need to choose a specific card reader, and then you'll need to determine where you want the card reader to be sent. You'll then connect your Etsy account to your Square account, and you will then be connected in order to sell offline, and you can use your reader in order to take payment and have products from your Etsy store sold in person. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. In conclusion, now that you know how to set up your Etsy account and set up items in your Etsy store, you'll now want to determine how you can better market the items in your store as well as your store in general. And the Etsy platform does have tools available. There is a marketing section inside of your settings, and you'll see that you can look to your analytics, advertisements, sales and coupons, social media, as well as to determine a custom web address. You'll also see that there are integrations available, and you can use these integrations in order to leverage your social media in order to get more people to see your store. You'll also see that there are tools available that will help you to be found better in organic search. And finally, Etsy does have partners that will help you to be able to put together a professional looking website that allows you to leverage your Etsy platform. And so now that we have been through the entire platform, you should now be ready to start selling your goods, whether they be digital or physical, from a distance or in person. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I'll see you either in another video or in another course.